And Ruth Anne Knobber lived up in Holland, Michigan, and she was a weird little cat. First time I met her, she was about 13 years old. And I'd go up there and preach for Garland Cofield in Holland, Michigan, stand there and shake hands, folks going by after service, and when the week was all over, Ruth would come up there and shake my hand. She'd stand there, tears just run down her face. Enough, dropping her dress. She wouldn't blow her nose, wouldn't wipe, just stand there just like that. Yeah. That girl was utterly without guile. You never had a little squirt like that in your life. I mean, just, her mother and daddy were lost, her brothers were lost. She had a real mean, wicked brother to tell dirty jokes in front of her, embarrassed her after she got saved. Her mother and daddy would make her sleep up in the third story in the winter, and she'd catch pneumonia every winter. They hated her because she went to a Baptist church. They were all Reformed, you know. Them Reformed folks in Holland, Michigan, Grand Rapids, they're just bad the Catholics in New Jersey and the Mormons in Salt Lake City. And you're going to throw her out of the house because you're going to the Baptist church. And Ruth Anne would go to the church, and she'd go by herself, and a beautiful little girl, pretty little girl, you know. She got to be about 15 years old, you know, and one day I was talking with her, and I said, Ruth, I said, what's the matter with your brothers anyway? And she said, oh, Brother Ruckman, they just have a dirty heart. Now, that don't sound like much, but the average 15-year-old girl in America is more sophisticated than that. But not Ruth Anne. She just come out with anything. She was always in contact with the Lord. She'd say, they just have a dirty heart. I remember thinking to myself, yeah, that's the problem. They got a dirty heart. That's it. When she got to be about 16, a bunch of boys picked her up one night, going to have a gang job, you know, and took her off down the street. And she got in the car, and she just as innocent as a lamb going to slaughter. Never, no pretense, nothing. Just, you weren't safe around Ruthie. I mean, whatever you said, whatever she said back to you was right from the throne every time. And she got in that car, and she turned around and saw a guy in the back seat. She said, oh, hello, Charlie. You're a Christian, aren't you? And old Charlie by that car. And they hadn't driven 2 blocks, then she said, where are we going, fellows, to a prayer meeting? That guy stepped in that thing, boy. They took her around the block and dumped her off, boy, and got rid of her. Now, that girl came all the way through high school. Beautiful girl. Peach of a girl. All the way through high school. Nobody date her. No dates. All the way through high school. I mean, just completely left out of everything, that girl. And I remember one time she got up and I remember one time we had a winter retreat up in northern Michigan. And we were up there in the snow in this big old log cabin, a big old fireplace, and come in from skiing or toboggan or something or other. And we came in there and Pastor Schofield said, now we're going to have a quiz. And I'm going to ask you 10 questions. And if you can write down every time, put down 10, if just a little bit, 5, if not at all, 0, and see what you get. So he gave us a little quiz, you know. I read my Bible every day. Or I witness to somebody every day. Or I spend at least 30 minutes a day in prayer. You know, them little quizzes. And when he got all through, about 40 of us, you know, we took the test. And he said, I'm not going to embarrass you. I'm going to let you grade yourself. So we graded ourselves and got through. I think I had about 85 or something like that. And I remember Ruth was sitting right next to me. And I made the mistake of asking her what she made. I'll never do that again. And I said, Ruthie, I said, she's about 17 at the time. I said, what did you make? She said, oh, Brother Ruckman, I couldn't give myself anything in that quiz. Oh, man. I was back looking through my test. I went, it's somewhere. That girl would mess you up, man. I remember one time she went off to Tennessee Temple finally. And when she got to, well, right before she went to Tennessee Temple, they had a thing where the student from Tennessee Temple came home, you know. Kofi went to Tennessee Temple, you know, so we recommend all these students go there, you know, that kind of thing. And they're back there having a big get-together and eating some junk food about 11 o'clock at night and singing choruses and testimonies and popcorn, all that junk. And we're sitting around there, and the guys were getting up giving testimonies. I thank God the Lord helped me to pass, you know, biology this year and that kind of stuff. And I thank God that we're working together in the same, literary club. You know, good testimonies, but kind of thin, man, you know. And I thank God for getting us over there safely and back, that kind of stuff. And I remember looking over there, and Ruthie was sitting there on the piano bench with her knees crossed, swinging her knees, you know. Out of it, man. I never saw her, she wasn't out of it. And she was sitting there just listening to testimonies, you know, like this. And it got all through, and she never said nothing. And I punched Cofield, and I said, see if Ruth's got a testimony. So he said, oh, Ruth, you got a testimony? And she snapped out of it, and she said, oh, yeah. She said, Just last week, there was this little Jewish girl down in the high school I've been witness to for a couple of years. I know what happened to her. We were out in the hallway the other day, and she just got crying, knelt down on her knees in the hallway, and got saved. Oh, my God. Oh, man. A Jew getting saved in the high school in the hallway, man. I mean, all like that. And she got up at now you understand, don't be a fool with this girl. They wouldn't touch her, boy. And I mean, she got to Tennessee Temple. She got to Tennessee Temple. I said, now she's where she ought to be. They have a good, clean environment. A lot of saved guys there love the Lord and call to preach. Boy, she'll be popular there. And after about 2 years, I was preaching someplace, and I said, you ever have a girl down at Tennessee Temple named Ruth Anne? And the guy said, oh, yeah, everybody knows Ruth. I said, you know her? He said, yeah, I know her. I said, boy, I bet she's really popular, isn't she? He said, well, no, not very much. I said, why not? He said, well, I've dated that girl. And he said, Brother Ruckman, all she wants to do is pray. Well, you say, where's she now? She married a fine Christian fellow, and they've been working the ministry now about 15 years. Got a family. Lord worked it out fine. But I imagine it's pretty rough for a young person to come up like that. Everybody thinking you're a screwball, you're queer or something, you're peculiar, just making you go it alone. But I work together for her good. And we know all things work together for good to them that love God, to them who are called according to His purpose. And I'm not quite through here. I better hit it again. Get them all while you're at it. I mean, how can a little old baby die, and how can that be a blessing? I've had to officiate a man with a little white casket, you know, about 2 or 3 feet long. Mother and Daddy crying their eyes out. Would you tell me how that can work together for good? I've never lost any children. You heard me say I want 10 children. I got them now. I got my 10. And I've never lost any of them. I hope I never do. I bet 11 grandchildren, probably a great-grandchild on the way. Down, we say down home at the Naval Air Station, we say 11 on the strip and 1 in the hangar. it's anyway, you'll get it in a while. And I've never had to bury those little grandbabies. I hope I never do. That must be a terrible thing. You take those little old boys and girls about 2 or 3, when they die, you know, it isn't too bad. Because they're so young, they don't know anything. They don't know what's going on. They're just kind of a daze. All they know is mama, you know, mama, and mama's there. And if mama's there, it's as good as anything else. And those children, you know, 18, 19, 20, when they die, get killed, it's bad. I know it's bad. But it isn't too bad. They've seen a little bit of life. They've had some taste of life, you know. Those little old tykes about, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 there, that I had never grown up, and they know something's wrong. They don't know what it is. And I've heard them cry and say, Mama, stop it hurting. Mama, it hurts. Mama, can't you stop it hurting? Mama, please. You know, folks, there's something a lot worse than getting killed in combat. There's something a lot worse than a lot of what you fellas have been through yet. You just don't think about it. You just pretend it ain't there. You get in the ministry, you'll see it. You'll see it. I've seen it. I know the little 12-year-old girls clawing that oxygen tent, trying to get it down, dying of cancer. Mama, take this away, Mama. That's rough, man. Rough. You take that kind of stuff, how in the world can that work together for good? I'm asking. I mean, some of you love all your life, and true to you all your life, and taking care of you all life that dies. How can it do you any good? I heard Bob Jones Sr. say one time, well, thank God old man McKenzie's dead. And I said, you mean Brother McKenzie down in Panama City? He said, yes. I said, wasn't he that millionaire down there that got you started? See, all these big ones have to have a millionaire. If you're Hiles, you have to have Anderson. If you're Horton, you got to have Johnson Coberly. If you're Bob Jones, you got to have McKenzie. And if you're Firewell, you got to have whoever he's got up there. I mean, that's just life, brother. And he said, well, thank God he's dead. I said, didn't he used to send you a lot of money? I said, yes. He said, yeah, he sent us about $50,000 a year. Well, I said, see me like that'd be quite a loss. He said, it is. I guess we'll have to get back to trusting God. Boy, see, all things work together for good.